Hello everybody, here we are today talking about the Calgary Flames and whether or not Calgary is going to be a good team this season. So before we get started with it, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get on into it. Now I do want to apologize, this is a little bit different of a setup than normal, but I do want to nonetheless talk about Calgary, a team that's got off to a surprisingly good start this season. And you know, as somebody that does hockey content videos quite a bit, and just a lot of hockey content creators in general talk about this, during the off-season you get a lot of time to reflect and think about what teams will be. And in my off-season, I talked about in the season preview for the Flames how they probably weren't going to be a playoff team. They hadn't made the playoffs in the previous two seasons. They were a side that didn't look like they'd be any better this year, but here they are now, unbeaten through their first three games. Again, getting 6 out of 6 possible points is impressive, but I think what's impressive too when you look at all this is the fact that they've got some notable wins in these first three games. Their first game was a 6-5 win over the Vancouver Canucks, a team that won the division last year, a big rival for them. Their second game was a win over the Philadelphia Flyers, a near 90-point team from last year that is hoping to make the playoffs this year. And then they beat their provincial rivals, the Edmonton Oilers, a team that was a Stanley Cup finalist last season that has gone on runs before. So for Calgary, I'd say those first three wins are kind of notable in getting fans excited and saying, could we actually be better than what we thought we could have been, even a couple of days ago? And I think that there are reasons to be optimistic here. You're looking at guys like Martin Pospisil. He is somebody that has got 5 points through his first three games, 4 primary assists. Jonathan Huberdeau is a player that struggled pretty mightily at times with the Calgary Flames after coming over from Florida. He is averaging over a point per game. A guy like Anthony Mantha, whose career has been a little bit interesting, he's averaging over a point per game. And then Dustin Wolf, who is a player that we talked about a little bit in the season preview, is a younger goalie that could be the future for Calgary. And that he ended up stopping 37 of 40 shots in the win over the Philadelphia Flyers after having kind of a bad stretch last year in a small kind of patch in the NHL. Those are reasons to be optimistic. The power play has been able to find the back of the net in 2 out of the 3 games. It's been able to get time on the man advantage the team has in all 3 of those. I'd say that there are plenty of reasons why fans could say maybe we are going to be better than expected, but I do think at the same time too, knowing me, I can be a little bit of a negative Nelly, so I think there's a little bit of a reason to be concerned here too. Of course, it's very early in the year. The win against Vancouver, they had to rally back from being down 4-1. And there are some other things too. They've been giving up a decent amount of chances defensively. That's not something that's going to be super sustainable. They've scored 6 goals in 2 out of the 3 games, so they've got 16 goals in 3 games. That's not going to be something that can hold up. They've scored at the second highest rate in the league over the course of the season. We would not expect them to be a top 2 team in terms of goal scoring at the end of the year. If they are, that's great, but I would not imagine a lot of people would say that this Calgary offense is going to be super high powered. But I don't want to discredit what Calgary has done to kick off the season. In fact, I am pretty impressed by how the year has gone for them early on. And I think there are a couple of very winnable games against Chicago and Seattle here, where if they win those, that is snagging all possible points through your first 5 games. Kind of sets you up nice to have a little bit of a cushion and then try to keep this momentum rolling. They do have a bit of a tough schedule after those next 2 games, but if they manage to go through out there and they are relatively unfazed, then I'd say Calgary might be that surprise team, because every year there's going to be a surprise team, just especially with how big the league is. And I think that the Flames, if they're able to get to the All-Star break and they're in a good spot, maybe they think about possibly what are some additions we could make if we try to make a playoff run. I don't know though, because I think the Flames are still probably in a little bit of that seller's mode, but a great start by a team kind of negates a lot of what happens there, especially if you're still in playoff positioning. But for Calgary, even if they fall off a little bit, they still would be able to have maybe some guys they're going to trade away anyway, have good starts to the year, or that would increase their value. So even if this is just kind of a flash in the pan, it could still be a good thing for the team. Whereas on the flip side, maybe they're going to be able to capture lightning in a bottle here and go on a run where they could make it onto the second round or something that would be really fun. So anyway, those are just my quick thoughts on the Calgary Flames. That way we could talk about it a little bit. I could get a video out as well. But I want to know your thoughts on Calgary to kick off the year. Are they going to be one of those surprise teams this season? There's some other teams as well, like Utah, where they're off to a good start. Other teams, like the Edmonton Oilers, that are off to a bad start. There's kind of a lot going on in the NHL at the moment, but it is very exciting. So anyway, what are your thoughts on Calgary? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video and subscribe if you're new. Everybody, please stay safe. Have a great night. And go love hockey, all right? Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.